Viewers, very warm welcome to another episode of our regular weekly program, The Weekend.
And I am Murtaza Solangi.
Solangi Saab, this week was also full of very exciting developments around the world and in this region. And we have a large and long list of important developments that we'll be briefly discussing today. So let's start off at the most significant global development that after almost 3 years of very intense and casualty-rich conflict in Ukraine, US and Russia again held their talks in Turkey. Two most interesting things to share with our viewers. The talks, according to Reuters, were held in the building of Russian consulate in Istanbul, which lasted for 6 hours. And the most significant thing which has come out is the absence of Ukraine conflict on the agenda. What do you make of this?
Well, almost 2.5 months down the inauguration of President Trump, he has successfully isolated from the entire globe. And the only saving grace for Mr. Trump is his association with Russian Federation, that he is going along trying to stabilize and promote the relations with Russian Federation. Ukraine was never on the agenda, as you have seen, that Mr. Trump has pushed to normalize relations with Russian Federation. And if you follow the news related to this Istanbul meeting, the only sticking point in this 6-hour-long meeting was that United States is still insisting that you employ local people in Washington, D.C. to work in the embassy of Russian Federation. Other than that, most of the things are settled. So I don't see any hindrance in the warming up of relations between Russian Federation and the United States, since Mr. Trump is isolated heavily. So it can only help his global image. So I think these relations will go on, but if there is any desire on the part of United States that they will pitch Russian Federation against China, that will not come to fruition.
Indeed, and Murtaza, I can also identify three key features of this important meeting in Istanbul between the two leading nuclear powers. First off, the absence of Ukraine conflict on the agenda, which proves that sore points and divergences, and they are exploring areas of cooperation beyond Ukraine war. So that is something very significant for Ukraine and Europe as well, because they'll be very closely monitoring the warming of relations between Moscow and Washington implies significant security implications for European security. Secondly, I agree with you that they have, Mr. Trump has opened a lot of fronts at home. He has coerced and threatened most US traditional allies in Western Europe and North America and in East Asia as well. And it seems that two of the biggest challengers and threats that the US traditionally considered are the only ones the Trump administration is reaching out to for talks, Russia and Iran. And this is very significant. Now let's move to the Iran talks. Tomorrow, US special envoy is going to talk to the Iranian foreign minister in Oman. And the talks have been brokered by Oman after Mr. Trump threatened that if these talks fail, then the bombing could start. And let me add, for the benefit of our viewers, I have noticed through open source intelligence in the last week very significant and large scale strategic deployment of US forces in Middle East as well as the Asia Pacific bases, particularly the B-2 bombers, the nuclear armed submarine whole squadron has been deployed, consisting of 5 submarines armed with hundreds of Tomahawk cruise missiles. So I think this aggressive posturing and its reporting in the media is also part of the US diplomatic tactic to coerce Iran into coming to some sort of understanding on its nuclear program. What's your take on it?
Well, despite all this bellicose harassing Tehran over the nuclear program, Mr. Trump, if you remember, already in 2015, I think, came out of the nuclear agreement with Iran. But now, with these threats, has already blinked, because US earlier said we will have direct talks, and Iranian said we can't trust you. We have to have an intermediary, and they have surrendered before Iranian demands. And these talks are being hosted in Oman with Omani foreign minister as an intermediary. While the capacity of United States in collaboration with Israel to hurt and damage the infrastructure of Iran can't be ruled out and can't be underestimated. But what I have seen in the open intel sources, that the nuclear assets and facilities of Iran are located in areas where these bunker buster missiles and ammo would not be able to destroy the Iranian capacity, would only hasten the process of becoming a nuclear power and detonation. That's one thing. The second important thing is that in previous conflicts with other countries, United States has been greatly supported by European allies and other major powers. This is an isolation moment for United States. Despite this power in relations with Russian Federation, even Russian Federation would not support any armed attack against Iran. So even if Trump decides to go all 9 yards against Iran, it would not be easy.
Indeed, and I think the 3 aspects you mentioned are very critical and significant this time. First off, you rightly mentioned that unlike JCPOA, which involves 6 parties, including the E3, which is France, Germany, and UK, and Russia and China as well were part of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. This time, US seems to be on its own because it has annoyed and angered the Western allies. Secondly, Russia has already urged caution and restraint on the part of US because most of the nuclear facilities that Iran has are of Russian origin, and Russian scientists are working there. So Russia would not like its infrastructure and investment to be attacked by either Israel or the US. And the third aspect, which is very critical, that unlike 10 years ago, today, according to IAEA open source assessment, the fissile material stocks of Iran are more than 20 times more than what they were at the time 10 years ago when they entered JCPOA. So even if Iran agrees to some sort of slowing down or cap on its enrichment facility, as one of the leading US senator yesterday warned, it is not a technological question, but it is a political and ideological question for Iran to join the nuclear club. And as has been warned by their leadership yesterday, they could even consider leaving IAEA using the non-proliferation treaty exit clause as well. So I think these talks are very critical and are coming at a very decisive moment in the history of Middle East. But let's move to South Asia. Some significant news has emerged regarding an individual who is a Canadian citizen, but the Indian media is trying to link him with Pakistan. And this Canadian citizen faced long, extensive legal proceedings, some of which were dismissed, but now he is being sent to India. What's your take on it?
Well, he also, or maybe his parents committed a biological sin that he was born in Pakistan. And that's probably the only thing that is being fanned in the US media. While there was another gentleman by the name of David Coleman Headley, a US citizen, who became an approver and has not been extradited despite Indian requests or pressure, whatever you call it. I think Pakistan has displayed a very principled position that he's not our citizen, he's a Canadian citizen. During that act of November 2008, he lived in a US city, Chicago. So do whatever you have to do. We have nothing to do with it. But Indian media and the ruling party are using this event to, trigger their traditional anti-Pakistan rhetoric on this issue to serve their own domestic politics. So it's more an issue of politics based on hatred than delivering any justice.
Indeed, and I'll just like to add four bits of information which might be of interest to the viewers. Mr. Tahawwur Rana has left Pakistan over 30 years ago, 3 decades ago. Once he acquired Canadian citizenship, he never even visited Pakistan. He never renewed his ID card or never even renewed his passport. In fact, during the proceedings of his case, he sought consular access from Canadian authorities, not Pakistani authorities, which means that he expects some assistance from Canada, not Pakistan. And lastly, the 3 allegations or charges against him were related to Mumbai attacks, plot to murder Danish cartoonist, and alleged links to Lashkar-e-Taiba. This also implies 2 possibilities. One, this could be a lone wolf, or this could be a false flag operation as well. Because according to credible sources, he has visited India several times. Because for a Canadian citizen to organize and facilitate alleged attack inside India, he needs information and sources and contact in India, not in Pakistan. And that is why his link with David Headley is being established. So I think his travel history to India needs to be explored more extensively, and his ideological or unilateral action needs to be seen in that context, because it also seems like a shoddy effort at diverting the international attention and debate from the grave concern that the Western countries in general, but Canada in particular, has towards the Indian intelligence agencies' repeated attempts to assassinate their political opponents and Sikh leaders in Canada, and try to put a negative image on both Pakistan and Canada.
Indeed.
So let's talk about our last topic, and we are expecting a high-level U.S. State Department visit, interagency visit to Pakistan, and it is likely to be a very important high-level visit immediately after Trump administration came to office, after he launched the tariff wars around the world. But there is expectation in Islamabad that we are going to discuss counterterrorism cooperation, we are going to discuss mining projects, joint investment. And do you think, besides these areas of mutual interest, some people are hoping that these US officials will also carry some message regarding a certain political prisoner in Pakistan?
Well, so far, all the efforts of PTI, especially PTI overseas, have ended in a major disappointment for them. If you remember, they were hoping that Mr. Trump, soon after his inauguration, will raise the issue of Mr. Khan. That has not happened. On the contrary, in his first State of the Union address, the mention of Pakistan came in a positive light when Mr. Trump thanked Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Pakistan's security forces for apprehending a terrorist wanted for Abbey Gate bombing in Kabul during the withdrawal of American forces. And on the heels of that address, we recently saw during Pakistan Mineral Forum Summit a high delegation of U.S. State Department led by Mr. Eric Meyer, who is practically the Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asia. And his meetings with Prime Minister, with Deputy Prime Minister, with Army Chief, and even the press release issued by the U.S. Embassy says it all. I had an interaction with U.S. diplomats in an informal manner. They were all very happy over the visit. And they said, U.S. is moving away from the Cold War era security focused relationship with Pakistan, and we are interested more in cooperation in trade, in business, in technology, in minerals, rare earth minerals. So a new chapter of US-Pakistan relationship is being unveiled. So the upcoming visit that you are referring to, that's probably a congressional delegation. Under Trump, the major decision-making is made in the White House. And other departments like State Department, Pentagon, CIA, they are in a complementary role. US Congress, Senate, House of Representatives are in a very distant relationship. And actually, there are angry voices coming out of Republicans against Trump administration. So that's why you see a softening attitude of Mr. Khan and his party towards Pakistan's security establishment. The PTI official Twitter account and even Mr. Khan's account and the vibes that are coming out of Adiala are all conciliatory, and they are now, seemingly trying to tone down their rhetoric and get some kind of reprieve by putting their heads down.
Indeed, I think in order to conclude, this is very insightful and comprehensive analysis, Mr. Solangi. It seems that the US and Pakistan are expanding and diversifying their relations and coming closer in counterterrorism and economic and trade areas. And US believes that working with Pakistan, with Rawalpindi, with Islamabad, is in US interest rather than interfering in Pakistan's domestic politics or influencing its judicial process. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Keep watching this program and don't forget to share your comments and share your views. Thank you so much for joining us.